father put me in with the top guys, professional fighters at like 12, 13 years old. You know, and that was something that I really enjoyed the most because it was hard. I would cry, I would run away, I didn't like it. I would tell him like, you know, this is not for me, I want to quit. And he would just, nope, no, you could do this. My father would flip it around sometimes and say, okay, you want to quit, we'll quit. And literally I would stop for maybe a day or two and bug him, be like, hey, I want to go back in the gym. So I believe we had this connection, obviously, since birth.
Beautiful. 4 straight in the jab. Tap the stick.
Do that they do.
Yeah, come on. But you gotta load. Yeah, you gotta load the shot. You gotta load it. Right.
Today, Romero sharpens his skill set under 2 trainers, his father Rolando Sr. and Cromwell Bullet Gordon. The fighter's unorthodox style comes partly from a late transition, leaving judo behind to pursue boxing at age 17.
What was it like in those early days when you first started out?
Throwing windmill punches, all sorts of just randomly standing there, just, you know, all that stuff, getting hit for no reason.
Quick. Hit that body.
After losing his WBO and Ring Junior welterweight titles to Stevenson in January, Teofimo Lopez could have taken time to disappear and rebuild quietly. Instead, he immediately went straight back to work.
That's what we've been waiting for, man. Working on drills, foot drills, hand-eye reaction, everything. You know, my guy, TA, Go Feet Formula, that's what's about to happen right now. I'm about to enter the whole matrix.
So like you know, we already here. Fight week is on, and we at the UFC Facility Center.
I've never seen him this great since right after the Olympics when he turned pro and was very explosive. But now he's a throwback and we're just trying to focus on that and go to the next level, man, and take over the 140-pound division. That's what we're focused on right now.
Now, I'm gonna show you where I grew up. We lived in that one when I was born. We used to live right here. I moved out of here like 3-4 years ago. But I moved out just because I didn't want to live with my dad anymore, you know? I'm a grown man now, you know? But I mean, I don't have no problem with this area. It's calmed down a lot over the years. It's nowhere near as what it used to be. Like, it's early 2000s, it was really bad. Like, people were shooting each other like every single day here. There's a homeless shelter right here. And there used to be a boxing gym right here too. Golden Gloves Gym, that's where Floyd and all them used to train. Floyd, Trinidad, Mike Tyson was there for a while. My dad, it was like walkable, so I'd go with my dad all the time when I was a kid. My dad used to box. If it wasn't for my dad, I really wouldn't be where I'm at today. Most of the great champions are father-son duos. I mean, not every fighter has that opportunity, you know, and ain't nobody gonna pressure harder than your father, especially your father who's obsessed with boxing.
But Teofimo Lopez isn't the only fighter walking into this matchup with momentum behind him. After securing a major victory over Ryan Garcia, Rolando Romero is right back in the gym preparing for another high-profile challenge against Teofimo. There is no long victory lap here.
What's up? Oh my God.
My father said, you gotta be an entertainer. He was seeing everybody else, all the other kids. He knew I could beat every kid. However, he just wanted to add a little bit more sauce into me. And what was it? He said, be different, have fun, enjoy yourself, entertain. And I always had that in me. I started boxing at the age of 6, officially. But before that, my father had me fighting and doing Taekwondo at 2 years old. So let's say from 2 all the way to 17, for 15 years, I didn't know where I was going. I didn't believe in myself like my father did. I did not. What my father instilled with me, and it stuck with me, were a lot of things that I could really say that has improved my living. Don't get hit. He always told me that. He's like, you know how to box, you know how to do this, just don't get hit.
The mission is different. Move up to 147 pounds, challenge Rolando Romero for the WBA welterweight title, and prove that the loss did not define him.
Say was don't get hit, and I already knew what that meant. And the sparring, man, it was just really bad because I wanted to impress my father the most. When I didn't perform at my best with him, or if I got hit and I didn't like it and I started crying, I would run away. I literally would run away from my father and everybody. They would look for me. This is me at 8 years old running away, my father having to call the cops, and I put my father through a lot of mess. You know, and I would cry all the time. I would embarrass him because I would cry while he was in the corner. I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this. And that's why I never really liked sparring. It wasn't because of the that I wasn't good enough. I believe it was just the fact that I was so hard on myself.
Inside camp, Teofimo has reportedly focused heavily on fundamentals, sharpening his jab, increasing his punch output, improving his movement, and learning to deal with taller opponents and longer reach. This isn't simply another comeback. It's a chance to immediately rewrite the story. Rolando holds the belt. Teofimo wants it. And the two fighters already know each other well.
Who's that? It's a takeover. I love you, Floyd. Let's go. Thank you, guys. That was great.
What makes it even more intriguing is that Lopez is moving up in weight after the Stevenson defeat, turning this into a completely new test. He has talked about returning to disciplined boxing, but there's still that explosive Teofimo waiting underneath it all. On August 22nd, the training finally gets put to the test. No excuses, no hiding, no rebuilding tour. Just Teofimo Lopez stepping back into the spotlight again. Rolando Romero's training camp may be focused on Teofimo Lopez, but clearly the man has plenty of energy left for everyone else, too. After coming off the biggest win of his career against Ryan Garcia, Rolando was asked about Ryan wanting the winner of this fight, and his response was immediate. He questioned why Ryan was even being brought into the conversation, arguing that Garcia has called out plenty of fighters without making those matchups happen.
Why are we even bringing this into conversation? Didn't he duck me twice? He ducked me after our direct rematch clause, and he ducked me after he fought Barrios. You're gonna tell me that this dude wants to fight? Right, he's just trying to chase whatever clout he can get right now. Same way he calls out everybody in the world and doesn't fight anybody. Don't bring.
Then Devin Haney's name came up and Rolando wasn't interested in reopening that chapter either. Claiming an offer had already been made and insisting the fight is no longer worth his time. Classic Rolando, honestly. But underneath all the trash talk, there was something interesting about his mindset toward Teofimo. When asked whether moving to 147 could give Teofimo more power, Rolando didn't completely dismiss it. He simply said it was possible. That's confidence without giving away too much. He also brushed aside questions about Teofimo's age and wear. Basically saying everyone gets older and that fighters naturally accumulate experience from years in the sport.
Fight that's still on the radar for you, a unification fight down the road?
No, we sent him an offer, a great lucrative offer. He decided not to take the fight because Devin Haney Promotions isn't a real promotion company. As we see, he can't bid in his own purse bids because he's not a real promotion company. On top of that, they're always fighting for a going out of business sale. But regardless of everything, me and Devin are never going to fight because he is scared.
Then the interview took a completely different turn when Rolando returned to his former elementary school and spoke to a huge group of kids. Suddenly, the loud personality disappeared for a moment, and we saw a more grateful side of him. He talked about being fortunate growing up, appreciating his parents, and valuing even the smallest gesture from another person. That's the strange thing about Rolando Romero. One minute he's dismissing Ryan and Haney, the next he's thanking his supporters and giving back to kids. But once the cameras leave and camp resumes, all of that disappears. Teofimo is next, and this time the talking has to eventually become boxing.
My parents made sure I never missed a meal. You know, but still regardless, helping out anyone, you know. Like, bro, trust me, I'm grateful for anything, bro. Somebody gives me anything right now, I'm the happiest person ever, whether it has no value or anything, you know. I value because the thing is gifts, they have energy in it anyways, you know. They just, somebody going out of the way to give you something, it's a different kind of love, you know.
Rolando Romero has been making plenty of noise ahead of this fight, but Teofimo Lopez came into the conversation with a much more interesting perspective. After what happened against Shakur Stevenson, Teofimo could have taken the easy route, stepped away for a while, and tried to rebuild quietly. Instead, he chose another dangerous opponent. That tells you a lot about how he sees his career. When Teofimo talked about being outclassed in his previous fight, he didn't pretend it didn't happen. He admitted there were things he had to think about, but instead of treating the loss like the end of the story, he started looking at the bigger picture. And this is where the interview gets interesting. Teofimo is now talking about controlling his own career, protecting his future, building his promotions, and making decisions that go beyond the next paycheck.
Actually, it's not just coming back with a big fight and stuff like that. You know, when you get outclassed like my previous fight, then there's things that you gotta really think about. But I think about the business perspective of it. I need to also protect my assets. And what does that mean? You gotta start now launching something different. Takeover promotions with the zone. And then we can do anything and everything with the lead promoters that come into play, right? But at least I get the rights to all my things.
I actually respect that because fighters don't get unlimited time at the top, and Teofimo clearly understands that his prime years have to mean something. Then the interviewer ran through his resume, and suddenly you remember just how many elite names this man has willingly shared the ring with. Lomachenko, Josh Taylor, Shakur, and now Rolando Romero. One loss doesn't erase that resume. Teofimo even said his mentality comes down to vision, and that's probably the biggest theme here. He isn't simply trying to bounce back from Shakur. He's trying to build something bigger than one result. Meanwhile, Rolando is waiting to test whether that new mindset actually translates when the pressure starts. Because talking about vision is easy. Having the discipline to execute it when a dangerous opponent is standing across from you. That's where Teofimo's Real comeback begins.
Sometimes after losses, people forget who you are. Rolly in the scrum over there, he was talking about how great you are. He thinks you're already a Hall of Famer. I believe he was rattling off. At one point, you would have been undisputed if not for a technicality. Who he said, elevating for a higher belt. You have accolades and you have done some things that other people have not done in this game. Just, what do you think about him giving you those kind of praises?
I think that his PR team is doing a phenomenal job. That's what I think. I think that he listens very well to his team and how to build up this fight. I think the whole purpose of that really is so that, you know, when they believe that he beat me, they fought the best guy that it possibly was.
That Teofimo conversation about rebuilding his career sets up the Rolando matchup perfectly, because Sean Zattel and Sean Porter are looking at the fight from a completely different angle. Not who talks louder, but who has actually evolved. Sean says both fighters are basically relearning themselves. And I think that is the key word here, because Rolando's performance against Ryan Garcia showed a level of patience we simply weren't used to seeing from him. He didn't rush, didn't chase every opening, and stayed committed to a plan. And now Sean expects that version of Rolando to show up again. But then comes the Teofimo question, because Porter believes Lopez may finally start building his offense instead of relying on that explosive counter-punching we've seen throughout his career. That's a scary thought for Rolando, because if Teofimo stops waiting for the perfect moment and starts controlling the pace himself, suddenly we're looking at a completely different fighter.
Both of them, like we saw with Rolly with Ryan. Rolly came to the ring with a game plan and he stayed disciplined.
Yes.
The entire fight. You know what I mean? And that was something that we respectfully hadn't truly seen from Rolly until that night, to the point that all of us is like confused, you know? And I think the same thing goes for Teo. I think Teo is at a point in his career where he's going to come to the ring and be disciplined. They're both going to come to, I guarantee you, they're both going to come to the ring and do things that we don't expect either of them to do.
Sean also raises the biggest tactical problem. Patient opponents have caused Teofimo issues before. Rolando doesn't necessarily need to give him the kind of openings Teofimo loves. If Rolando sits back, makes Teofimo lead, and then fires that heavy counter, we could have rounds where almost nothing happens until boom, somebody changes the entire fight. That's why I actually love this matchup. It might not be non-stop action from the opening bell, and honestly, that's fine. Sean and Sean are basically describing a chess match where both guys have a button they can press that changes everything. Add Teofimo moving up to 147, potentially feeling stronger, while Rolando naturally looks comfortable at the weight, and suddenly the prediction gets messy. I wouldn't call this a guaranteed classic, but I do think it's one of those fights where one mistake could make all the patience disappear instantly.
With patient fighters in the past, because you were taught to be that explosive counterpuncher that can be first when you want to be first, but your rhythm is more of a counterpunching rhythm. And so when guys come in the ring and they in the middle of the ring waiting on him, now it becomes this waiting game because I have been trained to have this be first and then the techniques on what I do after I'm first. So that's the biggest adjustment that Teofimo, in my opinion, is going to have to make. To me, now he's in a position where he can make that adjustment. The question is he going to be trained to do that, or is he going to be trained to do everything that he's...
And after all the talk, the training camps, the setbacks, the big wins, and all the predictions, we finally get to the part where none of the narratives matter anymore. Teofimo Lopez is moving up to 147, looking to prove that the Shakur Stevenson loss was a chapter, not the ending. While Rolando Romero is coming off the biggest win of his career and trying to show that his performance against Ryan Garcia was the beginning of something bigger. Sean Porter sees two fighters who have evolved. And I think that's exactly why this matchup is so difficult to call. Rolando has become more patient. Teofimo is trying to become more disciplined. And both men have enough power to turn a quiet round into absolute chaos in a second. So now I want to hear from you. Does Teofimo's skill and experience finally give him the edge at 147? Or has Rolando's patience and confidence created the perfect style to frustrate him? Can Rolando repeat the discipline we saw against Ryan? Or does Teofimo find the version of himself that made him a world champion? That's the debate. And I already know the comments are going to be divided on this one. Drop your prediction in the comments section and tell me how you see Teofimo Lopez versus Rolando Romero playing out. And yo, don't ever forget to like, share, and subscribe to Boxing Headquarters for more boxing breakdowns and fight coverage. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching Boxing World TV Boxing Glove. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more non-stop boxing action, fight highlights, and champion moments every week.